Shock Monkey Radio is created by adults for entertainment purposes. The views and opinions expressed here do not reflect the sponsors or FXPG Public Radio. For additional information, refer to the U.S. Bill of Rights. Stand warned. So I've always been a Pepsi guy. I never liked Coke. I think Pepsi is sweeter. Like 10 more calories or 10 more grams of sugar. I can't remember which. And so I think it makes Pepsi better than Coke. Now, you got to understand that Coke is based out of Atlanta. And I don't know if you know much about hot Atlanta, but a lot of minorities in crime, which is unusual. Atlanta has been sort of the industry capital of the South, and that's why Sherman burned it, because he wanted to put a big dent in the South's production capabilities. I don't think he shouldn't have done it, but that's another story. Anyway, I think Pepsi is in Atlanta too, so I don't know how relevant all that is. But do you remember the Pepsi challenge, where they do a blind taste test on the street, and they'd have covered soda cans, and through the magic of editing, everyone preferred Pepsi. Although I agree that Pepsi is better, there is no accounting for taste. Some people may prefer a less sweet soda, and I get that. It's all bad for you. I get it. But if we're shotgunning diabetes juice, let's go all out, I say. You ever tried Jolt Cola? And you know at least Pepsi doesn't hire some schmo off the streets to design a spicy cherry soda. That's right, I'm talking about Dr. Pepper. My favorite soda, made by Pepsi, thank you very much. Coke just hires this Mr. Pibb guy with no qualifications. I don't even think he has an associate's degree. He's just some jerk that showed up and said, "By golly, I think I cracked Dr. Pepper's formula." But he didn't. And Mr. Pibb is a sad mockery of the genius that is Dr. Pepper. And you know, Coke used to have cocaine in it. But I bet you knew that, thanks to the internet and the fact that it made it into the minds of most people these days. So perhaps Coke has more of the white guilt than Pepsi because of the cocaine thing. And that's why they're trying to tell people to, quote, be less white. You ever seen a movie called Deep Cover? Sidetrack here. There's a scene where Eddie comes up to John at the bar, and he asks him his name, and Eddie goes off something like this. "I knew a brother named John who liked to dance when he got it on. He made the pussy do the Watusi and said, 'Damn, this dick is strong. Stay black.'" And he walks away. All right. Then the bartender leans over and says, "What's that brother saying?" Talking about stay black. Better stay off that crack. It's the funniest line in the movie, and it's delivered by an extra. And if your memory is as good as mine, you know that I edited myself there. And the only reason is that I don't want to say the N-word. I debated this all day. I don't want to say it. All right, even though I was quoting somebody, because I've heard this stuff in the news about saying you can't even say the N-word when quoting somebody else. And it's not based upon who can say it. It's about the color of the skin of the mouth that it's coming out of. All right? So forgive me for censoring myself, but it is open season on nonsense like that. Anyway, so the bartender says, what's his brother talking about? Stay black. Better stay off that crack. Best line in the movie. Wait, it's probably not the best line in the movie. Because there's things like where winos cringe on a canned heat binge and find the graves in the snow. There's lots of good poetry in that flick. Deep Cover with Larry Fishburne. It's a really good movie. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, you should. With Cowboy Curtis. With Cowboy Curtis. And so, anyway, that whole quote, the stay black thing, is like the opposite of the be less white thing. It's like the opposite side of that coin. So that's why I bring it up. That's why it popped into my head. So you may not know what I am talking about. And it's this diversity training that is happening at the Coke company. And they're basically shaming white people. Now, I'm not going to go into the full story. This is not the news worth knowing yet. I just want to talk a little bit about soda. And I'm just pissed that even soda needs to get dragged into this nonsense. I'm not saying people are going to stop buying Coke over this. The Coke itself is innocent. Diversity trading doesn't include changing Coke's formula yet. So the product remains the same. However, this diversity training nonsense is happening in corporate America, and it seems less about diversity and more about racism against white people. What's that? You can't be racist to white people? Do you not understand how racist that is? I am appalled that the workers of America put up with all this nonsense just to retain their paycheck. People need jobs. And because of that, businesses and corporations take more and more from their employees every single year. When I worked in that world back in '05, my employer was constantly monitoring my posts on internet sites and scolding me for the content of my writing. God knows what they are how they are monitoring you today. And now they want to bring some quote unquote expert in to give everybody training on how horrible and racist white people are. And as more time passes, the prouder I am for being fired from that job because I refused to adopt my company's politics as my own. I refused to sell my right to the freedom of speech. And most of all, I would quit on the spot if someone tried to teach me that I am bad because of the color of my skin. And I would swear as I quit, calling them all racist Nazis and anyone else, regardless of race, who goes along with this nonsense are enabling the real racists. I've heard the excuses that these businesses and corporations get sued by people claiming to be discriminated against. But that's your problem, multi-billion-dollar corporation, not ours. I think you should just have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up.